Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Minds of America. My name is Kyle Nagy, and today our topic is the corruption of the two-party system and the questionable intent of the establishment. Our first example will be from the Democratic Party. The 2016 Democratic presidential primary was a complete mess. It was a classic case of the establishment deciding who the people get instead of the people themselves. There was a leak of DNC emails in early to mid-summer of 2016, and all of the emails pointed to one thing. The Democratic Party was trying to ensure that the outsider, Bernie Sanders, had no chance of winning the primary because they wanted the establishment on the throne, and the establishment was Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was likely to win the nomination without meddling by the DNC, but it certainly wasn't far off for Bernie Sanders. This is even more obvious when you consider the fact that the race was very tight when you removed the superdelegates. But even so, one of the real problems stems from the many sources declaring Clinton the winner well before that was warranted. She didn't even reach the threshold until June 6th, the New Jersey primary. They did all of this even though they claimed to be impartial, at least at the time, and this isn't some kind of conspiracy theory, as they've publicly admitted to it since then. Of course, they try to cover up their involvement with such activities before the writing was on the walls, which honestly might be the most despicable part of it all. Now, let's talk about the Republican establishment. During the impeachment trial for President Donald Trump, many establishment Republicans claimed it was a completely partisan endeavor to remove a president who in reality did nothing wrong. This couldn't be further from the truth. There was obvious evidence of something occurring, it just wasn't exactly clear. Why was it not clear? The Republican establishment members of the Senate refused to allow witnesses and evidence in the trial itself. Even so, let's look at the facts we have about this event. President Trump called the recently elected Ukrainian president to supposedly congratulate him on his election victory. But a CIA whistleblower who overheard the conversation reported that the president threatened to not give military support to Ukraine if the Ukrainian government didn't look into Joe Biden and his son. This is definitely an abuse of power, but the question is, who was telling the truth? And if it was in fact an excusable action or if it was worthy of impeachment. We'll never truly know because the establishment Republicans turned what could have been a completely fair trial into a partisan issue. All except Senator Mitt Romney, who has for years been known to be a bit of an outsider in the Republican establishment, voted for personal belief over party lines whenever he feels it is necessary. Now, let's move back to the Democratic Party and give another Democratic example. The Iowa Democratic Caucus for the 2020 primaries was a disgusting pandering to the establishment for several reasons. The delays and recounts led to questions of true Democratic intent behind the Iowa Democratic Party's methods. And one big confusion was the results being halted at 62% for several days. Also, Buttigieg, Biden, and Gillibrand all invested money into the app made to count Iowa votes. That is essentially bribery. Remember that this is the app that for some reason wouldn't work on a night where Bernie Sanders was expected to do very well and definitely won the popular vote by a decent margin. This is the app that is essentially reported how votes were given out, and also set in stone the numbers that the IDP has ultimately said were most certainly wrong. This all looks like one of two things: blatant, disgusting mismanagement at best, and election rigging in favor of the establishment at worst. Sanders won the popular vote in Iowa by over 1%, but lost the state delegate equivalent count by 0.01%. Granting Buttigieg at least one extra congressional convention vote, which, for a difference so small, might as well not exist. This, once again, is the Democratic establishment running away from the outsider Bernie Sanders. If the DNC tries to rig the primary against Bernie again, there will be hell to pay, because it may very well be the downfall of the party as an organization, or at least it would be if it weren't for the disgusting system we are stuck with. This is the real issue here. The two parties are complacent because nobody feels like they can leave. And the truth is, they can't. A third party can never and will never do well due to the country's polarization and the ignorance of many of the American people. Nobody will stand against a system they don't realize or care is broken. There is a way to fix this, though. It is nearly impossible, but if done, it would revolutionize American politics in a way not seen since the Constitution. Fix our voting system. People wouldn't have to vote for one of the two parties, or at least the establishment of one of the two parties, if we weren't stuck with the first-past-the-post voting system that guarantees a spoiler effect in our elections, and media that helps make sure that the establishment stays in power and fearmongers against any attempt by the American people to rise against it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Kyle Nagy, signing off from the Minds of America.